row of the grid.
That qualifies his teammate Danilo Petrucci as well, who's currently third in the World Championship standings. He lines up alongside Michael van der Mark and Remy Gardner on row 3. For van der Mark, this is his best grid position since Portimao in right at the second round of the season. Scored 24 points at that Portuguese round. He's only scored 16 at the last 4 rounds put together. Well, it's time to hear the French national anthem. Dave Goddard, down to you on the grids.
Yes, thanks, Alex. I'm here with Alex Lowe, second row of the grid. Alex, a circuit where you always shine, the strong super pole. You must be feeling confident.
Yeah, I feel quite good. I've been enjoying the motor here at Magny-Cours. Qualifying was good. My brother helped me a bit, so that was nice. I think we're going to have a good race today. It's a long race, but my pace feels all right, and I'm looking forward to it.
Great stuff. Best of luck. Thanks for your time.
Cheers, thanks.
Yes, Alex Lowe will be lining up fourth on the grid, so as I said previously, directly behind his brother in terms of position, and Alex 6th in the World Championship standings. This is the first season of Bimotor's new project, but he's already been 4th in Moss, podium Misano, 2 laps led at Donington Park, 20 points, as we've said, at Balaton Park. So real signs of progress before the summer break for Alex Lowe. We'll see what he can now do in the final third of this season. Back to the third row of the grid then. This is Danilo Petrucci. He will be starting from P7, and only 1 podium finish in the last 8 races for Petrucci, but still has a 16-point lead over last year's world number 3 Alvaro Bautista in this year's battle for bronze, and should be another good battle between them this weekend. They were 2nd and 3rd in race 1 here a year ago. Petrucci ultimately top scorer at the 2024 French round, the only rider to make all 3 podiums here last year, 2 third places and a 2nd. Remy Gardner suffered a concussion and bruising to his back that ruled him out on Sunday at the Hungarian round. Last 3 rounds haven't really gone to plan for Gardner. He's down to 13th in the championship, but rides knowing his future is assured, having signed another 2-year contract with Yamaha announced at Balaton Park.
Yeah, and for Remy, obviously, we've seen some good moments through the course of the season, and last time out was the low marks as well. But for Remy, at least able to qualify in the third row of the grid, leading Yamaha, good effort in the Super Bowl session. Axel
Bassani, double podium finisher here at Magny-Cours in 2022. 3 top 10 finishes at the Hungarian round last time out, and his best score yet with Bimotor, 17 points, and all from 20th place in Superpole there. So we know he can make progress in race conditions, and now he starts a little closer to the front, hoping to make use of it this time, unlike in Misano. Xavi Vierge picked up 22 points at the Hungarian round, and his first top 5 finish since Cremona. Did make the top 5 here in the Superpole race last year too. 23 points from the 2024 French round was his best weekend of the season, looking for another strong performance here as he fights for his future.
Yeah, it really does. It looks like Chanter might well be the Honda rider next year, Oliveira potentially a BMW rider, so those 2 berths that it looked like he had half a chance to being able to be on for next year look like they're going to be filled. So for Xavi, despite being a pretty solid superbike rider over the last few years, he's chasing a ride for next year.
Dominic Egerton missed the 2024 French round with a right shoulder injury sustained in a training accident. 6th in the 2023 Superpole race, his best at this venue. He's 2 points ahead of teammate Remy Gardner in 2025. That's rather gone under the radar because of his bad results in Cremona, Most and Misano. Jonathan Ray, 21 podiums, including 9 wins from 33 starts here in Magny-Cours, but his last victory here was in 2021. Crashed out of the 2024 French round with a thumb injury and has qualified down the order here in 2025. Only once has he qualified on the front 3 rows of the grid this season.
Yeah, and for Johnny, there on the 5th row of the grid, only a few tenths off being on that 3rd row. Again, just gives you that indication of how close it is in World SBK at the moment.
The farewell tour has already begun. Jonathan Rea said in his press conference at the start of the weekend that undoubtedly his career rival has been this man, Chaz Davies.
Yeah, and certainly whenever you look at what both of them have been able to achieve, they forced each other to raise their game consistently, and both were thankful of the other at the end of their careers.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure during their careers they were too thankful.
A lot more friendly with one another now than they have been previously, that's for sure. This is Alvaro Bautista, 5 podiums to his name here in Manicourt, the latest as runner-up to Michael van der Mark in wet conditions last season before suffering a broken rib in a Superpole race crash. Here surpasses Carl Fogarty, 4th in Ducati's all-time appearance records, his 168th race start for the manufacturer.
Yeah, and for Alvaro, you can see from the 5th row of the grid just how difficult it's going to be for him. But he needs to make sure he's able to make progress, score some points. He's up against it with Petrucci for that scrap for 3rd in the World Championship, but he'll certainly want to beat the rider that he's going to move in to replace next season.
Yes, signed to replace Danilo Petrucci at Barni Ducati for 2026, so it will be a 6th season with Ducati, but his first on an independent bike. And of course, a new model coming next season, so Bautista will be hoping that reverses his downturn. World champion in 2022 and 23, only 3rd last season, currently 5th in the standings this year, albeit with a strong chance of taking another bronze medal.
Yeah, and certainly on the basis of pure pace, he should be able to be the rider that takes that 3rd in the standings. But when you're up against Locatelli and his consistency over the course of the season, Petrucci and the fact that he doesn't make too many mistakes, those mistakes and crashes add up for Bautista.
Completing 5th row of the grid is Taz McKenzie. Remember, made a mid-season switch, missed the UK round and has moved to Bonovo to replace Scott Redding. 9 points scored last time out at the Hungarian round. Strong Sunday with an 8th in the Superpole race and 11th in race 2. 50 starts now under his belt. On we go to the 6th row of the grid with Ryan Vickers, Michael Ruben Rinaldi and Sergio Garcia. For Ryan Vickers, he too has managed to score well in the most recent rounds. 8 points in Misano, 9 points at Donington Park, and a few in Hungary from the Superpole race. 2 retirements, though, costing him there.
Yeah, and he had the speed in Hungary for a decent weekend and good haul of points. Just the long lap penalty and the crash into the long lap loop was costly for him. But at least over the last 3 rounds, Vickers been able to make a bit of a step forward with that Moto Corsa bike. And he needs to. He's under pressure now. There's a bit of rumour around the paddock that the team might opt for a rider like Federico Caricasulo next year. So despite Vickers having that contract, he knows that he has to perform.
Less than 5 minutes now until your race start. Let's head down to the grid again with Dave Goddard.
Yes, I'm down here on the grid at BMW with Sven Bluch there, head of motorsports. Sven, things looking up for the team so far. Despite Toprak's crash last year, his confidence seems to be up. A good Superpole, things looking very positive.
I think he's stronger than ever. Yeah, he's really completely focused, and we're looking to a good race, I think.
Great stuff. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
So we're looking at Toprak Razgatlioglu here. 9 race victories at this circuit in Manicourt for Jonathan Rea. 8 for Razgatlioglu. Opportunity to equal him here. And it is a bit of a farewell tour for both riders. Jonathan Rea heading towards retirement. Toprak Razgatlioglu heading on to MotoGP. And Toprak was talking about it at the end of the weekend at Donington Park, saying farewell to one of his favourite circuits. This is another kind of farewell here as we move on through the 6th row of the grid. This is Michael Ruben Rinaldi. He will be starting from 17th position. 2 points at each of his 3 rounds so far since his return to the Superbike class. His first 3 rounds on Yamaha machinery, and it's been every bit as tough for him as his short stint in Supersport was as well. 2 key riders starting at the back of the grid. Andrea Locatelli, who has outscored both Petrucci and Bautista at each of the last 2 rounds, up in 4th in the championship and only 15 points from 3rd, but now up against it this weekend after his Superpole crash. And the problem for him has been that the other 2 are much more frequent podium finishers, so big points lost here could be hard to recover for him. Back on the 14th of June, after the first victory in a 3-round unbeaten streak, Toprak was 26 points behind Bulliger. After 9 consecutive race wins, he now leads by 26. It has been a remarkable turnaround for Razgatlioglu, who had left Phillip Island trailing after wasting 20 points on a scoreless Sunday there. Those have been his only non-scores this season. Nicolo Bulliger, though, has had 4 non-scores, 33 points lost in Assen to mechanical failures, 24 conceded to Toprak in 2 scoreless Superpole races, and ultimately without that misfortune, the pair would now be neck and neck on points. Alex Raby and Steve English for race 1 of the 2025 French round. Trips to Aragon, Estoril and Jerez still to come. All venues where Bulliger and Ducati should go well, but he already has plenty of points to recover and he cannot afford to lose more at one of Toprak's favourite tracks here in Manicourt.
All venues Ducati should go well, all venues we know Toprak will go well, and that's the big challenge for Bulliger now moving into these last 4 rounds of the year. We're into the business end of the World SBK season. Toprak holds that advantage. He's your very clear championship favourite going into these final 4 rounds of the year. Into this race, 21 laps. Toprak did a long run yesterday. His pace and consistency, that was enough to worry Ducati. He's got the experience under his belt for what to expect in this race. That's going to help him a lot. Just looking at the tyre sheets, everyone's out there on the same rear tyres. For Toprak, he's using the harder front tyre compared to the rivals at the front.
Quick word on previous winners here in Manicourt. As I touched on the grid there, Toprak Razgatlioglu has the chance to equal Jonathan Ray's record of 9 Manicourt wins, recorded between 2015 and 2021 on the Kawasaki. 2 other Manicourt winners in the field. Alvaro Bautista took 1 in each of his title-winning seasons, race 1 here in 2022 and race 2 in 2023. And Michael van der Mark capitalised on wet conditions to win race 1 here last year. But it's Razgatlioglu who is the man to beat today. Took 2 wins here in each of the 2019, 2021, 2022 and 23 seasons. Now he's chasing his first French round hat-trick.
And he's made it clear, obviously, all the way through the weekend, Toprak, as ever, saying that the only thing he's thinking about is winning all 3 races. And he said after yesterday's practice session that he felt very comfortable on the bike. Needs to make a few changes to it. They made those changes this morning. They smashed the lap record in the Superpole session. But having that long run yesterday means that he knows that the tyre drop shouldn't be too significant. Track temperature right now in and around that 33, 34 degrees. So about ideal for the Pirelli tyres.
Start to this race really important for Bulliger. Didn't have the best of getaways last time out in Peloton Park.
Short run in towards turn 1. We tend to see a lot of times from those middle of the grid positions that it actually helps you off the line. We have already seen it in the races in the 300 class in the WCR so far today. So for Bulliger, he needs to hit the front and he needs to hit it right from the start.
Toprak Razgatlioglu, championship leader by a 26-point margin over Nicolo Bulliger. The 2 of them on the front row together. The one man who's been able to match their pace, who's a little bit of an outsider here. Sam Lowe starts from 3rd on the grid. He's currently 6th in the World Championship standings. 21 laps ahead of us. Race 1 of the 2025 French round from Manicourt gets underway. Not a good start for Sam Lowe's. Alex Lowe's, his brother on the Bimotor, already up and alongside him as they make their way into the Grand Corps for the first time. Nicolo Bulliger slightly out of position. Alex Lowe's comes through on him as well and up into 2nd place. So Razgatlioglu split from his championship rival by Alex Lowe's in 2nd position. Bulliger 3rd, trying to get back on terms. Sam Lowe's under some pressure from Andrea Iannone. Good start there by Michael van der Mark. He's up and alongside the yellow Go 11 bike and moving through now into 5th position. Heavy braking zone into the Adelaide hairpin for the first time. Toprak Razgatlioglu moves across to the outside. Door left open by Nicolo Bulliger. He goes side by side with Alex Lowe's, who does finally consolidate that 2nd place, and an opportunity on the exit for Sam Lowe's as well to pull alongside Bulliger and through for 3rd place. And it's the worst possible start for Nicolo Bulliger. I said it at the top of the programme. Bulliger is going to be under pressure in the early stages and is now going to come under siege from Michael van der Mark as well. Bulliger down to 4th position on lap number 1.
Yeah, van der Mark's still trying to have a future with BMW and a couple of different other championships, but he's got a chance now to help them in World Superbikes by trying to attack Bulliger.
Quick word on Jonathan Ray as well. He's up into 8th position. That's a good start for Ray on lap number 1. We ride on board here with Danilo Petrucci. He's another rider making up a little bit of ground. He attacks Andrea Iannone for 6th position and straight through in relatively straightforward fashion. So it's Razgatlioglu making it. Oh, big incident. Iannone's involved in there. Jonathan Ray, Jari Montella, Alvaro Bautista. That is a multi-rider pile-up on lap number 1. And just as we saw carnage on lap 1 at Balaton Park last time out, so too here in Manicourt.
With 4 bikes involved in that as well, it's a lot for the marshals to clean up. We'll keep an eye and see if there's any notification. 5 riders involved actually as well, so there's a lot of work to be done to get that corner cleared up. So we'll see if this race gets stopped at this stage. As it is right now, all the riders obviously approaching it that there's no such issue. And we've been able to see that Bautista, Vieira, they've managed to get underway. It looks like Jari Montella is still in the gravel trap.
Alvaro Bautista making his way back into the pits, and Vieira likewise, as the leaders continue on lap number 2 with 0.2 of a second between Toprak Razgatlioglu and Alex Lowes. 0.6 of a second then the gap back to Sam Lowes. Nicolo Bulliger attacking him for 3rd position. And as you can see, the bike's not yet clear from the gravel trap. They're making their way through turn 8 now, the 180 hairpin, and that's Jari Montella just being extricated from the gravel trap.
Yeah, and you can see there Montella underneath the Ray's bike, Iannone there, and then a separate incident it looks like for Javi Vieira and for Alvaro Bautista. But very unusual, obviously, to see 5 riders all off at the same place. But looks like everyone's been able to get underway, so shouldn't have any delays. And the riders are now just coming through that section of the racetrack. And you can see here for all the riders in the pits, their frustrations, but this is the battle now back on track.
Yeah, there is still a race going on up at the head of the field as we reach the end of lap number 2. Razgatlioglu from Alex Lowes. Big gap open now to Sam Lowes, and this is costing Nicolo Bulliger time. He's 1.3 seconds behind Toprak Razgatlioglu, and still with Sam Lowes to clear before he can go off and after Alex Lowes and Razgatlioglu the leader.
For Sam though, he's only 1/10 of a second slower than the race leader's pace. It's Alex Lowes that's setting the pace right now. New fastest lap last time around, 0.2 of a second faster than the race leader.
On they come then towards the heaviest braking zone at this Manicourt circuit, in towards turn 5, the Adelaide hairpin, the main overtaking hotspot and a legendary corner at this venue, and Nicolo Bulliger will capitalise to move alongside Sam Lowes for 3rd position. Now we'll see how quickly he can bridge that gap. It's opened up to a second between himself and Alex Lowes in 2nd place, who in turn is attacking Toprak Razgatlioglu for the lead on lap number 3.
Yeah, you can see on the exit of 5 it looked like Lowes just lost a couple of bike lengths to Toprak as well, just as they pull out of that corner there. Typical of what we've seen at times through the course this year, but for Lowes, he's doing a good job to keep Toprak honest.
Easy enough move there for Nicolo Bulliger to get up into 3rd place. Now we'll find out what his pace is really like. Alex Lowes with a 1:36.161 last time around. It's hovering in and around the race lap record set by Alvaro Bautista in the 2023 Superpole race. Pace has been very fast right from the start of this weekend.
Yeah, we've been able to see lap record pace from free practice. Obviously, last year for race 1 we had those wet conditions, tricky spots last year here in Magny-Cours, but this year it's been perfect conditions.
So we recover our race leaders then. Still a fair train all the way down to 6th position, covered by 2.4 seconds. And it's been a good start for Michael van der Mark. We said that off the line and on the opening lap. He's holding station well in 5th position. Behind him on track is Danilo Petrucci and Remy Gardner just hanging on in there to the tail of them. All of that carnage on those opening laps has promoted this man, Andrea Locatelli, up into 8th position. That could be crucial in his battle for bronze, with Alvaro Bautista among the riders crashing out and Danilo Petrucci only 2 places ahead of him.
Yeah, and for Locatelli already up there with Gardner for that leading Yamaha position. He's been able to do a really good job to stay out of trouble all the way through this. And Gareth Gerloff's made that progress as well. Gerloff started alongside Locatelli at the back of the field. Looks like he's about to move himself up into another position ahead of Taz McKenzie.
Gareth Gerloff then through at the Adelaide hairpin on Taz McKenzie for 10th position on this lap number 4. Directly behind them is Dominic Egerter in 12th place. This is the action further down the field. Up at the front though, Toprak Razgatlioglu with a new fastest lap of the race on lap number 3, and it's a 1:35.754, a new race lap record, faster than the fastest time of the Superpole race 2 years ago from Alvaro Bautista, and he's opened up another 0.7 of a second to Alex Lowes on this lap, and Lowes is about to get swallowed up here by Nicolo Bulliger, who's made half a second on lap 4 alone. It's not going to be here into turn 13, but it might well be at the bottom of the hill and in towards the Lycée Complex on lap 4. Alex Lowes does not have the pace of the riders around him at present. We ride on board with Nicolo Bulliger. Is he close enough? Not for the moment, and this will cost Nicolo Bulliger further time.
It's only Toprak and Bulliger that are in those 1:35s. Let's see what the times are when they come across the line. Toprak obviously on this lap, strong into those 35s again. Lowes into the 37s, half a second faster with Bulliger last time around.
into lap number 5 then. We ride on board with Nicolo Bulliger coming through the Grand Courbe. Now the change of direction through turn 3, Estoril, and it's all about building up speed on the exit and through Golf.
This is where Lowe's lost half a second last time around. You can see there for Bulliger, just faster through turn 3 than Lowe's.
Nicolo Bulliger already made his pass on Sam Lowe's in towards turn 5 for 3rd position. He's now through on Alex Lowe's before the braking zone even for turn 5 on lap 5. And Nicolo Bulliger released into 2nd place, but Toprak Razgatlioglu is already 2 seconds up the road at the front.
Yeah, the Ducati just a lot stronger on the edge of that tyre through the long right-hander as you're building your speed up the back straight there. So for Bulliger, it's an easy move. For Alex Lowe's, he now has to defend from Sam Lowe's on the run down in towards turn 5 next lap around.
Kind of area of the track where Bulliger said in advance of this weekend he thought the Ducati might be strong enough on those high-speed areas and the exits of those high-speed corners to challenge Toprak, but the problem is Razgatlioglu's away and gone.
That's the thing, 2 seconds is the gap now because Toprak's strong through those sections as well. The Ducati's working well for Bulliger, the BMW's just working better for Toprak.
So now your fight is for 3rd position. Alex Lowe's versus Sam Lowe's. It's a battle of the brothers, and Sam has made up 0.3 of a second on this lap so far. Still a podium place available for both of them. Of course, they have been podium contenders, the pair of them, in particularly the 4 most recent rounds. Alex Lowe's and the promoter making a visible step forward after that first third of the campaign while he was still learning the package and while the team were getting to grips with setup as well. You can see a fair group of riders all still on the start-finish straight together. Michael van der Mark's only 0.9 of a second behind Sam Lowe's as well.
See what happens here through turn 3 on this lap for Alex Lowe's. You can see there, wider through that part of the track than Bulliger. He's a little bit better this lap than he was last time around, but still that little bit of a slide there for the promoter. He's doing a good job. He's having to get everything he can out of that bike and that package to run up there in the podium spot, so he's riding well. But ultimately, over the course of the next few laps, against Bulliger in particular, we're just going to see just how difficult it is to be able to go with the Ducati.
Yes, Alex Lowe's fight might well now be for 4th position with the likes of Van der Mark and Petrucci, because you would expect that Sam should have enough pace to make his way through. He's going to try and do it without messing up Alex's race, I'm quite sure of that, but this is for a podium.
And we saw at the end of free practice yesterday, even on their cool-down lap, they were willing to have a bit of a scrap with each other. This is the chance to be up on the rostrum, and for Sam as well, it's that thing of being able to give yourself the chance to go with Bulliger in the middle phase of this race.
Bit of a moment there for Sam Lowe's on the change of direction and through turn 9, but he's still tagged right onto the tail of Alex Lowe's, with Nicolo Bulliger beginning to stretch his legs now, and 0.7 of a second ahead of Alex Lowe's. So if Sam Lowe's has any ambitions of getting on terms with the lead Ducati Nicolo Bulliger, he needs to make his move and strike on Alex Lowe's as quickly as possible. There's the gap now from Bulliger in 2nd to Alex Lowe's in 3rd, and Sam Lowe's, who was 0.4 of a second faster than Alex Lowe's last time around, has not been able to get any closer on this lap so far. So good defensive ride from Alex Lowe's in 3rd position.
Yeah, after the lap where he lost a lot of time, Lowe's now back into those mid-36s, so pretty much matching the pace of the other riders around them. Bulliger just with those extra couple of tenths of a second. That's Taz McKenzie, went off at turn 8. Doesn't look like he did too much damage to the bike. The wing's still intact there then at 8. Bit
of a shame though for McKenzie. I think he was in the top 10 positions as well. On lap number 7, he has dropped all the way outside of those points-paying positions. We return to the scrap for 3rd position with Sam Lowe's visibly closing in towards the Adelaide hairpin on lap 7, but still not quite close enough to take that 3rd place away from his brother Alex Lowe's, who is still holding firm on the motor. This is where your action is. Michael van der Mark matching their pace a lap ago, but not closing them down. The gap's still a second to him. Just for once again in that first section, Sam actually faster than all of the riders in front of him, but it's in this part of the track where they're just losing a little bit of ground towards Bulliger and to Toprak. Still nose to tail between Alex Lowe's and Sam Lowe's on lap 7. The yellow flags waved in the background. They're clear of that. Michael van der Mark was running in 5th position, directly behind these two. And as you can see, big gap now back to Danilo Petrucci in 5th place. So we've lost Michael van der Mark from this lead group, and that's a real shame for him. Winner here, of course, in Magny-Cours a year ago. It's been a miserable 2025 campaign with rare solace for him in Portimao. Sam Lowe's again thinking about a move down the hill in towards the Lycée complex, but Alex Lowe's still holding on nicely in 3rd place. And another lap ticks by, and Alex doing a good job in that number 22 Bimota. And once again, Bimota being able to see that when they qualify well, they're able to race well and keep in those leading positions. So good riding from Alex Lowe's on the 22. This is the part of the track where it looked like Sam was able to close right onto the back
of Alex on the run through turns 1 and 2, so we'll see if that sets up something down in towards turn 5. That'll be the next key overtaking opportunity for that fight for the podium positions.
Well, this is Toprak Razgatlioglu away and clear up front, 2.7 seconds clear of Nicolo Bulliger. Your fight is for third, just a tenth of a second between Alex and Sam Lowes in towards the Adelaide hairpin.
It looks again on this lap, Sam was able to find that time in the first couple of corners. Alex must be really strong through turn 4 to kink into the braking zone in towards turn 5, so good defensive riding from Lowes to hold on to that podium spot.
Yes, nervous moments though in the Lowes households as the two of them really scrap for a podium position. Just a tenth of a second between them still on lap number 8. 2 seconds back to Danilo Petrucci, another 2 seconds then to Remy Gardner, and you touched previously on the fact that the top Yamaha in this race was up for grabs for Andrea Locatelli. He is now just 0.2 of a second behind Remy Gardner, and he was 0.4 of a second faster than him on lap 7, so it's just a matter of time surely before Andrea Locatelli finds his way through. And in fact Remy Gardner a little bit offline as they came through turns 11 and 12, and it's going to leave the door open in towards turn 13 for Andrea Locatelli to come through. And from the very back of the grid, Locatelli now up into 6th place.
Great recovery ride from Andrea, and with Alvaro Bautista out of the points, big points to be made up here by Locatelli in his quest to finish inside the top 3 in the championship.
Yes, only snag for him obviously is that Petrucci's still ahead of him on the racetrack, but 2.3 seconds is that gap. We'll see what Locatelli's pace is like because there's still 13 laps to go in this race. Might be pretty much settled for positions 1 and 2. We've still got a race for third, and let's see if Andrea Locatelli can spice up the action elsewhere as well. Sam Lowes, the closest he's yet been to Alex Lowes. Remember, Alex started 4th on the grid, fired himself up into 2nd in the early stages, was picked off by Nicolo Bulliger in towards turn 5. Sam Lowes attacking him in towards turn 5 as well, but just can't get through there.
Yeah, and again, that run through turn 4, you could see them side by side, but Alex strong on the brakes down in towards 5 to hold on to that position. The gap between Alex and Bulliger now stretched out to 1.7 seconds. And Bulliger looking pretty comfortable now in that 2nd position, but he's got 3 seconds to make up the Toprak, so looks like this is the scrap on track right now. And certainly it's been a good battle up to now.
Well, Alex said on the grid that Sam had helped him a little to get the lap time in. Sam might be regretting that now as he stares at the back of the promoter for 3rd position. The man separating him from Nicolo Bulliger, who, to be fair, is only 1.7 seconds up the road. Bulliger's not exactly escaped away dramatically, but they're losing a couple of tenths of a second a lap, and that's enough for Bulliger to consolidate that 2nd place.
Yeah, and what's interesting is it's all in the middle of the lap whenever you're kind of stuck behind each other, trying to give yourself the chance to be able to pick your lines. And for both of the riders, they're trying to give themselves a chance to force the mistake from the other, and good clean riding from them.
Yes, Alex Lowes strong through sector 2 last time around, and Sam Lowes losing a little bit of ground through there. Just a quick check on the battles further back. Petrucci 2.5 seconds down on this fight for 3rd, so these two might as well enjoy themselves, because I don't think they're going to get to Bulliger 1.5 seconds up the road, and Petrucci's getting further and further away in 5th position. This could be your last scrap within the top 10. Plenty of laps still to go. Locatelli 6th, 2 seconds down on Petrucci. Gardner 0.8 of a second down already. You can see that gap opening out from Locatelli to Gardner. Then it's Garrett Gerloff. Strong ride from him from the back to 8th position. Axel Bassani in 9th, and Dominic Egerter rounding out your top 10. Behind them, for the record, in the points-paying position, Sofoglu, Garcia, Rinaldi, Vickers and Rabat, with Zaidi only 1 position outside of the points. So a little bit of attrition, and we could have a real surprise here this afternoon. We've had a lot of attrition in the early laps of this race, to say the least. We do pick up now Garrett Gerloff. It's benefited Gerloff and obviously Locatelli coming from the very back of the field as well. Yeah, and we've been able to see obviously that first lap in the instant down here into turn 13. We'll see what the stewards think of that one after the race, and if there's any penalties for us, but that definitely helped the riders coming through the field. Oh dear, Michael van der Mark down again, and this time from 17th position after his earlier spill. He's being assisted away from the gravel trap, so do hope he's okay. Michael van der Mark, who announced at the top of this weekend that it will be his final season in World SBK with BMW, world number 6 last year, remember, but it has been a tough 2025 season for him. Back to your leaders then on lap 11 of 21. And last time around, Alex Lowe setting a new personal best and into the 1:35. So he's been able to open almost a second over Sam Lowe's.
Yeah, Sam had 2 personal bests in the first half of the lap and then lost half a second in the second half of the lap. So maybe a small mistake there for Lowe's, but it's given Alex that breathing ground as well. And he's getting after Bulliga.
Yeah, I was going to say 0.4 of a second gained on Nicolo Bulliga last time around. Now, might be that Bulliga made an error somewhere in the lap as well, but that's a strong ride from Alex Lowe.
Both the motor riders were setting their personal best laps the race at half distance, so that bike is working its tyres well, and they're coming into their own as the race goes on.
Yes, Axel was signing with a 1:36.7 last time around, and he's having to work hard to keep Dominic Egerter behind him. Egerter's been closing from 10th position. I think top 10 finish is a reasonable result for Axel Bassani, but podium available here for Alex Lowe's, and it would be the second, of course, of this new Bimotor project.
Yeah, and for Lowe's doing a good job on this lap, once again, just give himself the chance to keep Bulliga honest. Bulliga doing an extra couple of tenths of a second on this lap compared to a lap ago, so trying to give himself the chance just to open up that margin. 4 tenths down on Top Rack. He needs to make sure he holds on to those 20 points.
Attrition 3 seconds further back, still losing about half a second a lap, so he's not going to challenge for a podium as things stand. I think he can be satisfied enough just to get another top 5 finish on the board, with Bautista out of contention for the points and Locatelli a couple of seconds behind him on track and setting similar pace, not making any further progress. I think your top 10 positions looking relatively static at this stage. We're into a tyre management phase of the race, aren't we, at this point, lap number 12. And one man who is good in this phase of the race, Garrett Gerloff, he might hope to make some progress. Loves this venue at Manicourt.
I don't think we're into a tyre management race. I think that the margins between everyone's fastest laps and their current laps is only a couple of tenths of a second. You can see there for Bulliga just making an adjustment on his helmet. I think he was probably just trying to change a vent setting there or something like that, just to try and help him a little bit. We did see in yesterday's free practice sessions, he was blown pretty hard at one stage during it, so for Bulliga, we'll keep an eye on that. Just
looking at the times, I think Remy Gardner must have had an error last time around in the final sector, lost something like 8 tenths of a second in that sector alone to Garrett Gerloff, and Gerloff with a fast lap time compared to the riders around him last time as well. So you've now got to fight for 7th position, because there are only 3 tenths of a second between Remy Gardner and Garrett Gerloff there. Axel Bassani another second further back, and Dominic Egerter dropping away at the end of that previous lap. So lap number 12, Razgatlioglu 4.5 clear of Nicolo Bulliga, and unfortunately the weekend is beginning as we might have anticipated. Nicolo Bulliga just not close enough to challenge Top Rack around here.
Yeah, and Bulliga on this lap losing that half second in the last couple of sectors, and Top Rack just as relentless as ever. 36.2 last time around, about a half a second off the Top Rack's fastest lap of the race. This time around, 35.9. So again, like I was saying, it's not really a tyre management race. It's just about having the pace, and Top Rack with that harder front tyre looking pretty comfortable out there.
We pick up the scrap for 7th position between Remy Gardner and Garrett Gerloff. As I said, at the end of lap number 11, Gardner must have made an error, lost 8 tenths of a second all in one go to Garrett Gerloff, and Gerloff quicker than Remy Gardner for a few laps in a row now within a 1/10 of a second of him. We'll see how it stacks up. Yamaha versus Kawasaki, the lone Kawasaki on the grid, of course, piloted by Garrett Gerloff, who had a podium for BMW in race 2 of the French round a year ago, and Gerloff already alongside Remy Gardner for 7th position and through before the braking zone. Bit of a moment under braking towards the Adelaide hairpin. Will that give Gardner hope on the cutback? He'll turn back hard to the inside and try and drag race down towards the Nürburgring chicane, but Garrett Gerloff has got that position. And nice work from Garrett Gerloff on the lone Kawasaki. The number 31 is now up into 7th place.
Good recovery as ever from Gerloff. We know how good he is around this track, and pole position in the past podium as well. And this is where he feels comfortable. This is also the phase of the year where we always see Garrett Gerloff finding a little bit extra, and good to see on the Kawasaki doing the same.
And phase of race as well. It does tend to be that the second half of races he really comes into his own, and you can see the progress he has made after his turn 3 spill in Superpole earlier on today. Started P23, now up into 7th position. Obviously a lot of riders out of the race. We've got 4 retirements. Montella, Iannone, Van der Mark we saw with his second crash, and I can tell you Jonathan Ray has now retired as well. Taz McKenzie's in the pits, Vierge and Bautista circulating, but both of them multiple laps down in 17th and 18th positions as we head into lap 14 now, watching Remy Gardner chasing Garrett Gerloff, and with Axel Bassani 1.2 seconds behind him, and Bassani 0.4 of a second faster than Gardner last lap around, albeit with Remy Gardner, of course, being passed by Garrett Gerloff.
Yeah, and for Gardner, it's a few laps in a row down in those high 37s, and for Bassani, he does have the pace to be 3 or 4 tenths of a second a lap faster than him, so he is going to come back to Remy, and we've obviously seen this year already that the motorbike uses its tyre quite well, so it's going to give Bassani a chance of getting himself into the top 8.
Lap 14 of 21, again Sam Lowe's fastest of anyone in the opening sector. But let's see what he does around the rest of the lap, because the gap is a second to Alex Lowe's ahead of him. Alex is a couple of tenths of a second a lap slower than Nicolo Bulliger, but I tell you what, if you'd said to Alex at the start of this race you'll be 0.2 of a second a lap slower than Nicolo Bulliger, I think he would have taken that on the motor.
Yeah, I think for sure, and given himself the chance of fighting for the podium. A second is the gap between himself and Sam, so definitely in position to be able to do what he needs to do on that number 22 machine. Second behind Nicolo Bulliger at this stage as they come in towards the final section of this lap. Last time around, Alex still in those few tenths of a second slower than Bulliger, so still very consistent pace from all of these riders. The front Toprak still in the 1:35 this lap. Bulliger comes across line mid 36s, and Alex again on this lap a couple of tenths of a second slower than Bulliger.
Yes, and Sam Lowe's finally 1/10 of a second faster than Alex last time around. It's generally been the other way over the few most recent laps. We're into the final third of this race now with 7 laps to go. And Toprak Razgatlioglu will just be counting them down at this stage, and you do rather get the impression in the context of the championship overall that it is up to Toprak just to ensure that he finishes these races, that he doesn't hemorrhage major points in any one race or have any major incidents, because Bulliger can't match him, and it's another weekend that starts with Toprak Razgatlioglu very much on the front foot.
Yeah, and we know from Toprak what he's always been capable of doing whenever he knows he's got that potential against his rivals, and he's just so relentless, and he doesn't mind keeping himself in those low 36s, trying to force the challenge from Bulliger to come to him. But ultimately, lap after lap, he's pulling out those 4 or 5 tenths of a second, and that's the margin between him and his rivals right now.
So stay as they are at present. Danilo Petrucci will be 27 points ahead of Alvaro Bautista in the race for third, 16 ahead of Andrea Locatelli, who's only 1 place behind him on the track. But it's another race where Alvaro Bautista qualifying down the order makes him a little bit vulnerable. The incidents there at turn 13 early on are going to be reviewed after the race, and obviously we didn't get a full view of exactly what happened, but certainly Bautista back circulating down in 17th position and 3 laps down at least gives us a little bit of a guide, and gives Bautista a bit of an understanding of where his pace is at. And last time around, lap 14, well for the leaders anyway, Bautista 3 laps down, remember, 1:37.2 for him. So it's in and around the kind of pace of the likes of Andrea Locatelli. So top 6 might have been a possibility for Bautista potentially.
Yeah, and as ever for Alvaro, it's just the mistakes and the crashes and the incidents that add up. Now, we haven't fully seen what happened to him on that opening lap, but when you qualify down the order, this is what happens, and we've already seen it this season. You think back to the incident with Scott Redding in Portimao, you think back to the incident with Sam Lowe's in Assen, and another couple of first lap incidents. But it's when you're down the order, you leave yourself vulnerable to these kind of moments.
Just watching Garrett Gerloff making his way through the final chicane, and bit of a moment to say the least on the exit there, but he is still 1.3 seconds ahead of Remy Gardner. Axel Bassani chipping away 0.2 of a second a lap faster than Remy Gardner in front of him. And Bassani's now got that gap down to 0.7 of a second, although Gardner started to answer back in the second sector of this lap 16. Wonder whether there might have been an error from Bassani, because he's lost 0.4 of a second all in one go there in that second sector. Gap opens back out to a second. Certainly Bassani hunting Gardner now for 8th position. Looks set to be the next battle. It is the closest at the moment, duel inside your top 10 places.
And again, a good ride here from Bassani. We've seen it at times this season on the Bimota, just how much more comfortable he's been on that bike compared to the Kawasaki last year. And the Bimota package is working well around here. Alex obviously on the podium positions on the 22 bike, and for Bassani trying to chase down a top 8 finish, that'll be a really good result from him as well. And the third time this year we had both done qualifying inside the top 10, so showed that the bike is just working well around here. They haven't needed that attrition to bring Bassani into play.
Dominic Egger had 3 top 10 finishes at the UK round. They were his first top 10 finishes since Assen had really bad weekends in Cremona, in Most and Misano. We never really got to see the best of him at the Emilia-Romagna round. Obviously only had the one race in the end.
Double world champion there. It's going to be exciting if he does go back there to see him try and challenge again and try and win races again. It's been a tough time for him on the Superbike, but we have seen plenty of flashes over the last couple of years of the speed that he can bring to the Yamaha one. We obviously saw the podiums at Jerez in his rookie season, at front row in Phillip Island as well. So there's been plenty of times where we've been able to see that he's got the speed on a Superbike, just hasn't had the luck. He's had a lot of injuries, and just for Domi, we haven't really been able to see him at his best on a Superbike.
Briefly saw Sergio Garcia in the background when we were watching Dominic Egger as well. He's riding in 12th position at present. Remember, he's the replacement rider covering for Iker Lecuona, who is out with an arm injury. And more good lap time under the board, or more good laps on the board, I should say, for Garcia, who also rode in that Aragon test, so gaining in experience. And there is a possibility, obviously, that Lecuona could potentially be out for longer this season, because he had to undergo surgery on that injury. That's the reason that's kept him out this weekend.
Yeah, certainly if you're Iker Lecuona, you could be forgiven for thinking that it's probably better off just to wait until
Garrett Gerloff from 7th position on lap 18, and a podium finisher here a year ago on the BMW. Crashes out from a good scoring position on the Kawasaki here.
That looks like turn 3 as well for Gerloff. You can see there, just happens quite early in the long right-hander, but it's a real shame whenever he'd been running well inside the top 10 and had done a good job to recover from that qualifying crash at the same corner.
Let's see where he rejoins on the circuit, because we've had so many riders retiring that there is still a chance of points here. And I think he's rejoined
Tito Rabat.
Yes, so he is still in the points at the moment, because the next rider behind him is Zakwan Zaidi. But whether the bike is too damaged for Gerloff to continue, that's another matter. Will be real disappointment here for Gerloff, because actually, considering he'd started at the back, it had been a decent ride from him. And he had provided some of the entertainment as well. We watched him getting through on Remy Gardner for that 7th position, but that's gone away from him now.
Yeah, and it's a real shame for Garrett whenever you come to a circuit like this that you know you're going to fit well with the bike, and you know you're going to have a decent performance on, and just a tough day at the office with the crash in the Super Pole session, conditioning a lot, and then right here at the end having that crash.
Yes, and the same area of the track as well, so that's something Gerloff will very much be circumspect about before we go racing tomorrow. Super Pole race to try and come through from the back for him, and also Andrea Locatelli. That's going to be a tall order, and the focus might now start to move towards race 2 for tomorrow afternoon, as we look at the race pace for Toprak Razgat Lioglu, who's now leading Nicolo Bulica by 7.8 seconds.
Yeah, and for Toprak just winding down now at the end of the race, you can see there for his pace chart through the course of this one, and Bulica for much of the race just those few tenths of a second slower than Toprak, and certainly pound for pound Razgat Lioglu's had the edge, 0.3 of a second the difference in their fastest laps, and 8 seconds now is the margin, and it's just those few tenths of a second that creep up lap after lap, and that's the big challenge for Bulica whenever you're in this situation.
A couple of bits of news further back. I can tell you that Ryan Vickers has been given a long lap penalty, and that's for exiting the circuit without losing the mandatory 1 second. So long lap penalty is going to cost Vickers a few seconds. It will end his scrap with Michael Ruben Rinaldi for 12th, but it shouldn't cost him any places on track. And we see him now darting to the outside line to complete that long lap penalty, and he should rejoin without losing any track position. That's Sam Lowes. Sam Lowes coming down, and where is he going to rejoin? This really has been a demolition derby in Magny-Cours.
Sam should come back probably around Remy Gardner's position in 6th after that. Looked like a crash down at turn 13. You're going to see the front's just going to fold for him, and yeah, very slow speed crash there for Sam, and he'll be able to get himself going again. Locatelli's going to come through, and then there's about 5 seconds between Locatelli and Gardner, so Remy's going to come through there as well.
What a shame for Sam Lowes, riding up in 4th position, and particularly because it didn't look like he was really going to be able to get Alex, and he had a big margin to Danilo Petrucci behind. It was an unusual looking crash on the exit of the bend as well.
Yeah, just one of those ones where you're crashing for a long time whenever you crash like that, and that's a bad mistake from Sam at this stage of the race. Whenever you're not trying to chase down the podium, you're just trying to hold on to what you have. But certainly plenty of riders have an instance now at the end of this race, so maybe tyres just becoming more and more of a factor into these final few laps than they were around about the halfway through this race.
Yes, with the greatest of respect, you know you've had a crash-tastic race when Zach Wanzaidi's up in the points-paying positions at the moment, set to score a point for the first time in World SBK. I'll celebrate that because it'll put him on the rider performance document for us for the rest of the season. Penultimate lap of race 1, Razgatlioglu leads 8 seconds ahead of Nicolo Bulliger. 2.5 seconds back is Alex Lowe's, and then Danilo Petrucci in isolated 4th position. We're in now to the final lap, and it's just a question of safely negotiating these final 4 kilometres for Toprak Razgatlioglu.
Yeah, and for Razgatlioglu, another 25 points coming, and certainly the form he's shown all the way through this weekend. No surprise to see that he's out there leading this one, and he's just wound it down the last few laps, but still comfortably out in front. And for Nicola Bulliger in 2nd spot, he knows that he's got to make a big step forward tomorrow, because as it stands right now, 31 points would be the championship margin.
Yes, and imagine he loses you know, another 8 tomorrow, and that leaves us in the position that I said at the top of this programme, Bulliger potentially needing to win every race in those final 3 rounds, and that's too much of a tall order to ask against Toprak.
Yeah, it really is, and that's the unfortunate reality of it right now for Bulliger, is that you just can't afford to have those mistakes. And apparently typical Gallic style.
Yes, the Blue Berets must be a callback to his spell with Yamaha. He's been a race winner here with Kawasaki, of course, in 2019. So that was the only wins that Razgatlioglu managed on Kawasaki machinery. So this will be the first circuit where he's been a winner with 3 different manufacturers. Keeps racking up these statistics and these records in what's set to be his final World SBK season, for now at least.
Yeah, and for Toprak, once again, we're just able to see the confidence that he brings whenever he comes to each of these rounds. And it's always difficult for riders whenever they've got that momentum behind them of consecutive wins to keep that run going. Toprak has found a way to always go to each weekend and make sure that the team are able to keep a fresh perspective on things and keep that momentum going. And certainly for BMW, they were very motivated coming into this weekend to make sure that Toprak was going to pick up a race win to start the weekend, and now they're aiming for that hat-trick.
Mission now is exactly that. He hasn't had a hat-trick here at Manicourt before. He obviously had 2 wins in 2019 on the Kawasaki. He's obviously had multiple wins on the Yamaha. This is his first win on the BMW at Manicourt because of missing the 3 races here last year. but now the target is to add another venue and to extend his winning run, and you certainly wouldn't bet against it.
Yeah, for Toprak, he had never had a pole here before. He notched that one in the Super Pole session, and now he's been able to pick up the race victory as well, and really impressive performance from him. And for Nikola Buliga, we can see here come down victory lane as well. Buliga's been able to do a good job because you're up against it with Toprak, and once again he's able to finish in second spot.
Yeah, second place for Nikola Buliga today, but you could see almost exasperation for him last round when he was soundly beaten by Toprak. Disappointment in the Super Pole session earlier on today. He obviously thought that he would be able to challenge Toprak for pole, and this is going to be dejection because he was just nowhere compared to Toprak this afternoon. Yeah,
it's a massive winning margin for Toprak. It's 0.4 of a second a lap that Buliga and Ducati have to find, and that's the big challenge for them. But we'll go into the Super Pole race tomorrow, and a lot can change during the course of a Super Pole race. The 10-lap duration is a very different dynamic. Obviously, Toprak will still be your favourite to pick up the race victory, but for Buliga, he needs to find a way to be able to try and fight.
Opening lap's important because, again, there he's sort of out-muscled by Alex Lowes and Sam Lowes, and it's something we saw last season a lot, that we talked about a lot in the early stages of the season. Hasn't been much of a problem for Buliga this year until last round and Balaton Park. We started to talk again about Buliga being sort of muscled out of the way and moved out of the way in those early laps, and he's not done anything wrong, let's say, but if you lose 2 positions right at the start, you've got work to do. You've got to pass, and Alex and Sam both had good pace at the head of the field. We saw that when Buliga got past them.
Yeah, and that's the big thing for Buliga. You can't afford to give Toprak that inch. That's where we spoke about in the warm-up lap, that he needed to attack from the start. He actually made a good start off the line, but Alex was committed through turn 1 to be able to set something up, and then you just give up a little bit of ground to Toprak, and it's just difficult to recover from it.
Yeah, Sam did not make a particularly sharp start, and that's something for him to work on tomorrow, because again, he looked to have similar pace to Alex Lowes. Had a couple of opportunities just exiting Estoril turn 3, but couldn't get alongside each time he tried. Alex was able to outbrake him into the Adelaide hairpin, meaning that Alex Lowes had to work for that one, but also that if Sam wants to get back on the podium tomorrow, he's got to try and defend position successfully on the opening lap too.
Yeah, and it's also one of those ones where whenever you spend so much time behind another rider, it's easy for that front tyre to wear a little bit more. That could be a factor that we saw at the end of the race. You need to try and give yourself the chance to be in clear air, and that's where tomorrow's race will be a different strategy for him, especially in the Super Pole race.
Razgatlioglu, Buliga and Alex Lowes, your podium trio then. We'll have them to celebrate in a couple of moments' time. You'll see Danilo Petrucci in there as well. He's top independent. He's got rather used to that, but he's not going to be top independent next season, of course. He is moving onto a factory contract and an official ride with BMW. Reba just in discussions there with Alex Lowes after that podium finish. And Reba's an ambitious man. He's always on for the next success and the next opportunity. 2 big scoring opportunities tomorrow. But great for Alex Lowes, because we know what he can do in the Super Pole race, and over a 10-lap distance, you'd bet on him to go toe-to-toe with anyone. Second place in the 10-lap sprint in Misano, but to do it over 21 laps for 3rd position here today, that's a good result for Alex and for Bimota.
Yeah, it really is, and again, just shows the work that they've made with that team and that project, that you're not even that surprised by it, because once they qualify well, they're able to race well, and we saw that once again from Lowes, where he doesn't put a foot wrong. And again, you see that experience that he has, and you see just how much confidence he has whenever there are those opportunities. He doesn't want to let them slip. And Donington, we saw, was one chance that got away from him, but he was trying to chase down a race win there. There wasn't a race win to be had. There was a podium. He made sure he grabbed it with both hands.
So championship standings after race 1 here in Magny-Cours, and Toprak Razgatlioglu leads by 31 points, another 5 gained over Nicolo Buliga. Danilo Petrucci now 17 clear of Andrea Locatelli, and crucially 29 ahead of Alvaro Bautista in that battle for bronze. Sam Lowes scores 7 points, remains 6th overall, 16 points for Alex Lowes, 3rd in race 1 today, so he's only 42 points now behind brother Sam for 6th overall in the championship. Danilo Petrucci just giving his congratulations to Alex Lowes, and I think we're just about ready to hear now from the Bimota man, his 2nd podium of this season and his first on the Bimota in a full-length World SBK race.
Alex Lowe's, a great start, a battle with your brother and a podium for the Vimotor. Great afternoon's work.
Yeah, good afternoon's work. Sam helped me in qualifying. I managed to put the bike on the first 2 rows of the grid, which was our target. I knew my pace, especially the mid to the end of the race, was quite good, but no pace for top rack. I tried hard to stay with Nicolo, but yeah, I was on the limit, and then I was trying to manage the gap with Sam. I saw the pit bull was going up and down. I kept pushing. Unfortunately, he made a mistake, but I'll be able to wind him up about that later. And yeah, it was great. So happy to be on the podium. This year the guys are working so hard, as is everybody, but inside, in the face of a new project, there's so much to learn, there's so much going on. So not just my side, the other side, the whole team. Thank you very much, and yeah, let's see what we can do tomorrow.